Hey everybody, this is the first playoff, the TTT for this series of ZRL, and I can't be more excited even though I'm not going to be racing because I still have this stupid post-COVID cough. I don't even know what to say about this. It's actually a really great course for a team time trial, and it is just such an exciting time for every one of your teams, your riders that are out there. So I'm hoping I'll be DSing a couple of times, both this one and the follow-up race. And there we go. Let's jump right in after the map and take a look at the race on a page. My headline here, I think this strongly favors Thursday riders, not just because it's a team time trial, but because on the Thursday before this race, this is the route, Greater London Flat. So, bear that in mind. Onto the ride itself, it's 30 kilometers with 105 meters of climbing. It's a team time trial. You've done a couple of these in the season, and so it is the points are scored with the team's time of the fourth rider over the line. Route strategy, maintaining a formation and the whole team staying attached is critically important on this course. It always is in a team time trial, but this one in particular doesn't really have any hills that give you an excuse to break up. There are a couple of bumps, Northumberland and twice over Piccadilly. Those will tax the team that they cannot split the team. Power-ups. WTRL's website would tell us that there are no power-ups, but actually if you do a refresh on the schedule, you will see that the power-ups have popped in there. They are aero, they are the truck, and they are the feather. I missed out my orange box because I want to come back and talk about it in a little more detail, or just focus your attention on it. I said in the route strategy section that there is no room for error here, and when we're talking about your strategy for formation, the way that you reduce that error is don't get too advanced for yourself. If you know as a team how to ride a pace line, cool, do that. If you don't, then start with a blob, stretch that blob, just do not detach from each other. I can't emphasize that enough. I will say if there's one time that you should head out and do a little bit of formation riding, if you get the opportunity next weekend before the race itself, that might be a good idea. Get all 6 riders out there and just practice what works for you. If you can't ride a formal pace line, don't panic. Anyway, that's enough of that, I think. Let's just jump on, take a look at the DS notes. Nothing much to say here. It's the usual thing for DS notes. Best way to consume these is to download them. Link in the top right. They are absolutely free of charge, and I think that's the best thing to do, is download them, distribute them to the team. I've got the lead-in and the 2 laps separated just because the lead-in is pretty significant, and there you go. That's all I'm going to say about that. Download them and use them there. I'm going to say a massive thank you to everyone who is popping up now on this list. This is the seasonal shout out, everybody this season who's contributed. I'm just going to throw out there that in the last 12 months, running this channel's probably cost me around $5,000 altogether, and everybody on the list has managed to help me defray those costs. But as I always say, being on that list, being a contributor, buying me a coffee isn't the only way to help, and not even the most important way to help. If you want to help Sherpa Dave, tell your friends, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Download the notes, like I said on the DS slide. And if you've done all of that and you think I've done a good job this season, buy me a coffee. There we go. That's enough of that. So here's where I think we're going to be for target times, and I'm lucky in predicting these that we run this one so often with the Thursday team time trial. Of course, they get a couple of extra riders in the team, so I had to take that into account. But this is where I think you need to be for the win on Tuesday. Enough of that. We're now going to jump straight in to one hot lap. And away we go. So it's 600 meters flat out of the pens. That gives you plenty of time to get into your order. So let's see you have a nice fast start when your delay time is up. Next comes a 600 meter bump up, which will take us to or through this start finish gate, which you'll remember hasn't got anything to do with our ride, but is a nice landmark. This just averages 2%. It gets a little above that, but by now you should be in formation and just driving as fast as you can, maintaining a decent extended blob or even a pace line as you go through. Alright, I'm going to hit the brow of this hill and we're going to now bump down for 800 meters. It does undulate a bit. There we go, see, there's that little step up. It says 6% in the mini map, but you should be able to just plow through this one. This is a great stretch of the ride to be practicing your formation. Making sure you're communicating, calling who's on the front, who's in position 2, etc. Through the tunnels, and now we've got a bump up and a bump down that will take us all the way to Northumberland Avenue, which you will find at 3.6 kilometers into the ride. I find Northumberland, we'll talk more when we get there, I find Northumberland is always tricky for teams. If you are attentive and paying attention and communicating, you can get through it fairly easily, but if you stop focus for even a split second, somebody goes off the front and that creates a split that just wastes valuable seconds pulling back in. We're just going to run alongside the Thames for a little while. Alright, Northumberland is after this next bridge here, and you can see it on the mini map with that sharp right hand turn. The trick here is how you stretch the weaker riders just enough but don't break them, and how you keep your your stronger riders in check to make sure that they don't pull away. There you go, 300 meters, an average of 4%. It gets a little higher than that, but now it is flat all the way up and down here. 1.4 kilometers. So regroup, use this time to regroup, check in with everybody on Discord, get back in formation and get back up to speed. Just after we go through the arch, we will hit a slight descent, just minus 2% I think, but that'll allow you to pick up speed without having to put in more effort. And this descent actually keeps going through the gate, and you're around 6 kilometers or 18 kilometers of a total of 29.4 kilometers. And ahead of us there, Buckingham Palace. Those of you that live in London know that, wonder why I'm saying that. Those of you that don't live in London or don't even live in Britain, there you go, now you've done some sightseeing. Alright, as we come around that corner, we now have a false flat up for 500 meters. Again, keep power steady. It will affect your speed just slightly, but this is all about steady power delivery and effective use of taking turns on the front and recovering on the back. We'll hit this bend and then we get the reverse of false flat down for 500 meters. There we go. Now it stays mostly flat for 800 meters till you get to 8.2 or 20 kilometers, but it does undulate a bit. As you can see, we're hitting -1.2, +1.2, but never for very long. Again, keep power delivery smooth, keep smooth turns on the front, and you'll get through that with no problem at all. This road is called Birdcage because many hundreds of years ago there were bird cages on it, but the birds have now gone. So have the cages. Slight step up again, power delivery, and now it's flat for 5 kilometers to 13.4 or 25.1 kilometers. There's Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament ahead of us. My cousin used to work there. Not sure if that's relevant, but good to know. So again, we're back running alongside the Thames. It's not completely pan flat. It does fluctuate up and down, just 1% here and there. But for the most part, for all practical purposes, just treat this as flat till we get to 13.4 on the first lap, 25.1 on the second lap. Let's have a little music. There's a little bump up coming. Just a little false flat. Just keep your power steady. Power through it. And then we just bump back down to the same amount. This is also false. So you'll just pick up a little speed. This is Sloane Square, I think. Alright, back on that little flat, just for a short while, till we hit 13.4 kilometers first lap, 25.1 second lap, and then we just step up a bit, 400 meters at 1.5 to 2%. There you go, flat now, until we get to the descent down into Piccadilly. There we go, we're on that descent now, so it starts -1, I don't think it gets above -2 or 3, but you'll be able to pick up some speed here to carry you through to the start of that Piccadilly climb. Now this is not steep by any stretch of the imagination, but when you're going at the kind of pace that you should be going at, and this route, it will wear on the weaker riders. So you can see it hits -4 there, not for long, just stretches out. And then we're going to have a very gentle or a very short flat. Right, there's the first section, short bit of flat now, and then the climb will kick back in again. And you can see where it ends on the mini map. It's where the road takes a sharp turn. That's actually the end of this little climb. Just be aware that your weaker riders, particularly on the second lap, will be pushing really hard to get up here at pace. So first lap, you probably want to give them some time to recover as you're coming down here. There we go, make the turn now. Second lap though, you might want to make a clever decision about who's going to be able to help you for the remaining couple of kilometers and who isn't. So on lap 2, if people are gasping after that climb and you've got 4 people who are still fresh, then just put the pedal down and go for it. Either way, back in formation. There we are, 1 kilometer to the finish of the lap if it's lap 1, but of the entire race if it's lap 2. And it's all flat or downhill from here. Round the corner. You should recognize this. Been here once before. 500 meters to go. There's the 300 meter marker. It's all downhill now. 200. 100, and you are done. As always, I'll leave you with a final look at all of the downloadables, but the best way to use them is to download them, distribute among the team. I will sign off now. I hope you guys have an amazing first playoff race, and I will see you out there. Right on, everybody.